to the live show once again. I don't see anyone tuned in yet. I've been running behind, seems like all weekend. But we are getting started. And it is recording. So if you don't see it live, of course, we'll have it in podcast or maybe video if this decides to work right. Really, this is going to be about power rankings and playoff analysis. We're in the week, I believe, week 13, so we're past that three-quarters mark in the league. So you have a good idea of where you are right now, if you're in playoff contention or if you're not. Before we get started, I do want to welcome the new owners that have joined the league and the Broncos, the Steelers, the Packers, and the Seahawks. Welcome. We're glad to have you. I think all four of you are a great addition. You replaced owners that were not that great, obviously. They weren't, for the Seahawks, they just weren't active. They didn't play their last four games. Packers decided to leave because he was going to be traveling a lot for work. And, he asked to be considered for Madden 17, which he will be, but of course he lost his spot. The Steelers weren't active. And with the Broncos have been cursed. We've had multiple dumbass owners on there. So I don't know. I don't get it. But either way, still, and we are glad to have all of you be a part of the league. So with all that being said, let's get the music going. We are going to start with the power rankings. And I did these power rankings myself this time. So I shouldn't hear a bunch of crying about what Daddy League said is good and what Daddy League said, isn't good. So with that being said, we always start from the bottom of the top. And starting with number 32, it is the London Black Knights. The Black Knights are still on Army assignment. They should be back this week. He told me the end of June, so the end of June is Thursday. So hopefully a few more days, and then we'll have the Black Knights back in tow in league play to finish up the season. Number 31 are the Indianapolis Colts. Another struggle season for the Colts, man. But they do have T.Y. Hilton, who's in the top 5 in receiving yardage. We'll get to that in a minute. Number 30 are the Denver Broncos. New Broncos owner. I think they have a pretty good defense. I think they have some pieces on offense. They're going to have to get a quarterback for this last season coming up. But I think they have a couple of receivers, and Emmanuel Sanders and a young rookie. I think his last name is Aiken. That can be really good targets in that offense. Number 29, the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons are, they play tough, man. It kind of surprised me how they lost to the Buccaneers. I thought that was going to be a closer game than it was. But for some reason, it wasn't that close. Bucs look like they played really well. James Winston threw the ball pretty good. So, the Falcons are still going to be there. They're going to be a tough team to deal with down the stretch for you playoff contenders, for sure. Number 29 are the 28 are the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions still a talented team. They started out in a hole. The new owners come and got a couple wins. They've been in a lot of games, and to be competitive is a good sign. And you just want to work on things, and at this point, get ready for next season, which will be the last season for the league before Madden 17, obviously. Number 27 are the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks' new owner, like we just mentioned, came in. And it was funny. The old owner didn't like Dez Bryant, even though he traded for him. And the new owner comes in his first game, Dez Bryant has 7 catches for 230 yards, I believe, and 2 touchdowns. So, as we all knew, Dez Bryant is a beast. You just got to know how to use him. And I think the new owner will get the most out of him, obviously, as he's done already. Number 26 are the London Bulldogs. The Bulldogs did get what I consider a good win over the Huskies recently. And they're going to pick up another win here with the force over the Black Knights. So, you got a little winning streak going here for the Bulldogs. And I think I said in the chat, it's party time in London with all the tea and crumpets. So enjoy. You may even skip the afternoon tea and just keep the party going. Number 25 are the Los Angeles Dragons. The Dragons are the former Chicago Bears. It's been a tough season for the Dragons, but they're still hanging in there, and they got the rookie QB to play and getting experience, which is a good thing. It's always good to get experience for your young guys this time of year, especially when you're out of the playoff race like they are. Number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers owner came in yesterday and got a big win over the Ravens in an interdivisional battle. That loss, we're going to look at the playoffs here in a second. That was a big loss for the Ravens. And that happened, I believe it was at home. Yeah, at home. So the Steelers come in, and Martavis Bryant had a huge game. I was looking at some of the stats from that. They came in, and the young quarterback Mosley threw the ball well and was able to get the job done. So, so heck of a way to join the league. And, hey, that's making a name for yourself. Number 22 are the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 4-7, and I need to pull this list up, as a matter of fact, so I can reference the records. But the Bills are 4-7, and it's a good season for them. They've had a couple good wins. They're not in the easiest division to deal with, so they're making the best of it. They got a lot of talent. That's a very talented team. And next year I think they should push for 500. That should be the goal. And I'm just being serious about that. Number 21 are the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are another new owner that's come into the league. Friend of the Lions. Thank you for that referral. I wish I could give out referral bonuses, but I don't have the money for that. I haven't even sent the damn trophies that I have up here. I got damn names and addresses of trophies going back to year 1. And I keep forgetting to send them out. And I'm going to do it at some point. But anyway, the Packers came in. Their buddy, the Lions referred them. And the Lions beat them in the referral. I call it the referral game. But it's good to have you. And hopefully you'll stay on for Madden 17 as well. Number 20, and you should be happy because these are my rankings. Number 20 are the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was not happy about being 32 last week. But the Chiefs are 4-7. The playoffs don't look that great, but they've taken a couple of forced losses due to traveling and such. I think they're going to be a team to watch next year. They have a ton of speed on the offensive side of the ball. And they got a guy that can get the ball there in Hundley. And, I don't know if I'd have to look at their roster, but I don't know if Gurley's still there or not. But that's going to be a good team. It's going to be a good team next year. Number 19 are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mentioned them earlier. They had the big win over the Falcons. I think they have faint playoff hopes. They would have to win out, I think. They can't afford another loss. And we're scheduled to play today. And they played me tough for a half last time. I'm going to be trying some new things on offense. I'm always struggling after I don't play for a while. It could be an upset. You never know. Plus, we got to go to Tampa. So, playing on the road, you never know what can happen down there. Number 18, the power rankings are the Dallas Cowboys. That crazy NFC East, man. It is something that... Oh, and I'm sorry. I skipped the Redskins at number 23. The Redskins are a good dude. I got to say that. Because when you don't see a lot of people that can take losses well, the Redskins take losses well. And you might laugh, but that is a hell of a trait, man. When you can take an L and roll with it, you know, that's a good deal. It really is. And they're still in this NFC race because no one seems to want to win this division. And we got the Cowboys, like I said, at number 18. They're 5-6. They're a half game out of first place. And it's just going to come down to week 17. I mean, I've seen a lot of tight division races here in 8 years. This has got to be the tightest, where I think all 4 teams going into the end of the year have a realistic shot at winning the division. It's amazing. Number 17 are the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 6-5, but they got to get some games in, man. I mean, you have an outside chance at a playoff spot, but if you don't get your games in and play, and you keep taking chances with Sims, you're not going to get in. Plain and simple. We've seen it before. You got to play your way and earn your way into the playoffs, and you got a chance. But you got to take the bull by the horns and get these games in. Number 16, New York Jets. They're also 6-5, and like I said, excuse me, faint playoff hopes. They started out in the hole. New owners come in. They've been very competitive. They've won games, and you know, they got a shot here. We're gonna look at it here in a minute, but hey, all you need is a chance. We've seen plenty of people come in this league, get in as a wild card, and make a run to the conference championship or even the Super Bowl. So it can be done. Very simple. Number 15 are the New York Giants. They just had a big loss, 3-point loss, 20-17 to the Huskies, which has resulted in this first place tie in the division between themselves and the Huskies. They had a big chance to make a little bit of separation in that game and also try to secure a tiebreaker. But that loss really convolutes things. That was a big one for the Giants. Big missed opportunity. And conversely, number 14 are the Huskies, and that puts them in a pretty good position. I mean, when, you know, you're tied, but you got one game up on the Giants. I don't know if they play again or not. We'd look at playoff scenarios down the road maybe next week. But, hey, that's a big win for the Huskies. That's a big win. On the road in New York, too. Very impressive. And they have been having trouble closing out close games. Shows progress. You can close out a close game on the road and a big one at that. Number 13 are the Baltimore Ravens. Tough one for the Ravens, man. Lost 27-26 to the new Steelers. I heard there was a missed extra point in that game. That was a big loss for the Ravens. We're going to look at scenarios here where people sit here shortly, but that loss, I mean, that if they would have won that game, they would have been sitting at 8-4. That's a pretty good spot, you know, usually at this point in the season. But 7-5, and they'll be battling with some teams here, like the team above them, number 12 here, the San Diego Chargers. Chargers are 7-4, and they're right in the thick of it. And I gotta commend them because they finally put the Golden Child in as a starter. And you saw what his ass did: 16-19. 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Put him in earlier, could have been better than 7-4. Hard heads make a soft ass. Remember that. Number 11 in the rankings are the New Orleans Saints. Saints are, what are they? 7-4, and they're firmly in the race for a wild card spot. Gonna be hard for the Saints to catch me in the division. 3 games up, 4 with the tiebreaker. If we win today, it effectively pretty much ends their chances to win the division. So most likely a wild card for the Saints, but they're dangerous if they get in. Play very good defense, ball control offense. The only thing they got to watch is the turnovers with Garrett Grayson. That's the one thing holding them back. Expect for them to go for a quarterback very hard in the offseason, whether it be free agency, which it should be free agency, unless you get a really good guy in the draft. But one season left, I'm going free agency if there's a guy out there I think that can lead my team. All right, top 10 in the power rankings. Number 10 are the Arizona Cardinals. They've had a really good couple of wins here. They beat the 49ers, and they beat the Rams, I believe. If that's not right, someone correct me. But I believe with those 2 wins put them at 7-4 in a good spot for a wild card possibility. And hey, both wild cards could come from that NFC West, also with the division winner. So you could have 3 playoff teams from the same division.
At Uncle Bob's, we think storage should be simple. That's why we help you through the entire rental process, from choosing the right storage unit to protecting your space. Uncle Bob's offers storage by the month. Stay as long as you want, whether it's a single month or a few years. Security is important too. Access to our facility is controlled by keypad, and only you have the key to your space. So grab some boxes, fire up our moving truck, and start filling up your space. It's easy at Uncle Bob's.
Very good division out there. Very good competition. Probably why this little Seahawks owner bitched out the old one, not the new one. Someone pointed out to me he wasn't very active once Sanzo and Jimmy joined that division. And I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. But anyways, my 2 cents. Number 9 in the power rankings are the San Francisco 49ers. Sanzo's 49ers are 8-3 on the year. And they just had that loss to the Cardinals, I believe. And, they're scoring a lot of points, but they're also giving up points. So, shootouts are going on in San Francisco this year. But they're still in a good spot for a wild card or even a division. Number 8 in the power rankings are Oakland Raiders. Raiders just lost 17-10 last week to the Ravens. That was a big game. Oakland is 1 game up on San Diego in the AFC West. It's turning out to be a very good race, but Oakland has a very good defense, and they're scoring their fair share of points as well, so they're a very good team. But, hey, that race is not over out there. It's going to be a good one. It's going to go down, I think, till the end, I believe. Number 7 in the power rankings are the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns are 8-3. They just got another win the other day. And, they're really producing well. Defensively, I believe Kirksey, their middle linebacker, is among the league leaders in interceptions. Very good at reading routes in the middle of the field. I've got a game with the Browns coming up here in a week or 2. That's going to be an interesting game for me. I've seen a little bit of them on the stream. I really think they push the ball down the field offensively, and that's always a challenge. It's going to be a challenge to see if, we hold up against that passing game. It has me a little concerned. But that's down. Very good team in Cleveland. Inside track winning the AFC North as well. Number 6 in the power rankings are the Minnesota Vikings. And, they are 9-2. They pretty much got that division locked up in the NFC North. I've seen them play once or twice on streams. They are very balanced in the offensive attack. And there's still talent on that team from when Sanzo had them before we had the change up. And, they're a team to watch. I think teams like Minnesota are the ones who come playoff time that get hot and they're able to win close games, because I've seen them win close games. I saw the one they played the Cardinals. Close game they were able to pull it out. And defensively is where they make their money. They're a very good defensive team. Number 5, top 5. Number 5 in the power rankings are the Jacksonville Jaguars at 9-2. My old QB Evan Mason getting it done down there in Jacksonville. So proud of him. So very proud. But they got Malcolm Kenny at receiver, who's leading the league in receiving yards. Speed guy out of the slot. It's tough to deal with, matched up against linebackers and third-tier corners. You got to keep that Jacksonville offense off the field. They're throwing the ball very well. They're very tough at home. They're undefeated at home as well. Good team in Jacksonville, and they're really challenging in that AFC South. It can be a hell of a race between them and the Texans to see who wins that. It's good to see. It's good to see. Number 4 in the power rankings are the St. Louis Rams. Rams are 10-2 on the year. They lost to the Cardinals a little bit ago in a shootout game, but they recovered. They won their last 2 games. Ryland Mason getting it done along with the 2 guys, 2 speed demon brothers in Ramon Jordan and Tavon Austin at receiver. Tough combo to stop, and that division in the NFC West, I'll tell you, that's gonna be a hell of a race. But right now, the Rams are getting it done, and they have the inside track to winning that division. Also, inside track on a bye. Depends on what Minnesota does here this week. But it's gonna be it's like a 3-team race between Minnesota, St. Louis, and the Panthers for those 2 byes in the NFC. Number 3 in the power rankings are the Houston Texans. The Texans lost their first game of the season. They've won 10 in a row since then. Case McCain at quarterback. Another Panther quarterback getting it done. Really throwing the ball well. The young receiver, Houston in the draft. He's come out and he's really stepping it up and becoming a bigger threat in their offense. I always offensively, Houston is strong, but like I said before, they win with their defense. They run a very good scheme defensively, and the Bulldogs have been close against them a couple of times, but hadn't been able to pull it out. But that's a very good team down there in Houston, and I tell you, that's gonna be if Houston and the Lumberjacks make it to the AFC title game, that's gonna be a hell of a game, and I would love to watch it. Number 2 in the power rankings are the Carolina Panthers, and we're number 2 because we've been the lucky, or not so lucky, beneficiary of a couple forced wins lately. It makes me sick because I love this team. This has been my most favorite team to play with, and I can't play games. And it's kind of disappointing, but it is what it is. Hopefully we play today and we'll be able to play all the way out. We're playing well. Cam Newton's throwing the ball well. Defensively, we're playing well. I like what we're doing overall. As long as the injury bug avoids us, we'll be fine. And still number one last time, the Portland Lumberjacks, 10-1 on the year. Ever since they lost that game to the Bulldogs, the upset loss they have, they've won 7 in a row. They really haven't been close. And like I said, they're a hell of a team, and they're the defending Super Bowl champs. Even though they're not in Ireland anymore, they're in Portland. So, it is what it is, man. So those are the power rankings as it stands right now. So before we get into breaking down the standings and what the playoffs might look like, we'll go through the stats here, and we'll start with the team stats. League leaders in offense, team passing. Not team passing. Total offense. Panthers number 1, Jaguars number 2, Texans number 3, Vikings number 4, and Rams number 5. All those teams are in the top 6 of the power rankings. So hey, offense, hey, getting it done, man. That's what it's all about. Top passing teams: number 1, Carolina Panthers; number 2, Jaguars; number 3, Texans; number 4, Cardinals; number 5, Bengals. I'm sure that's affected by Sims. Top rushing teams in the league: number 1, Vikings; number 2, Raiders; number 3, Texans; number 4, Panthers; and number 5, Lumberjacks. On the defense, top defensive teams in the league: number 1, Lumberjacks; number 2, Panthers; number 3, Raiders; number 4, Texans; number 5, Jaguars. Top pass defense: number 1, Lumberjacks; number 2, Raiders; number 3, Panthers; number 4, Texans; and number 5, Broncos. And I agree with number 5, Broncos, because they have a very good secondary. You got Josh Norman, Chris Harris on the outside, Revis is there, and they have good safeties as well. Top rushing defense: number 1, Lumberjacks; number 2, Panthers; number 3, Rams; number 4, Ravens; and number 5, Houston Texans. So you hear a lot of the same teams there in the top 5 teams for certain statistical categories. So let's take a look at the top players in stats. Excuse me. League leaders in passing, number 1, Cam Newton, Panthers. Number 2, Ryland Mason, St. Louis Rams. Number 3, Case McCain, Houston Texans. Number 4, Chris Taylor, Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, old-ass Eli Manning, still getting it done for the New York Giants. Top rushing yards in the league. Number 1, Trey Mason with the... there it is. Trey Mason with the Minnesota Vikings. Number 2, Carlos Williams for the Toronto Huskies. Number 3, Latavius Murray with the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, Devontae Freeman with the St. Louis Rams. Number 5, Jeremy Hill for the Portland Lumberjacks. Top receivers in the league. Number 1, Malcolm Kenny, mentioned before, with the Jaguars. Number 2, Bashard Perriman with the Lumberjacks. Number 3, of course, Des Bryant with the Seahawks. Number 4, Mike Evans with the 49ers. And number 5, one of the terrible twosome, Tavon Austin with the St. Louis Rams. Defensively, this is a lot. When I say this every week, when they have Sims, a lot of teams not playing games are tops in these categories. But I'll say them anyway. Tackles, number 1, Kamal Ishmael for the Black Knights. Number 2, Ryan Shazier with the Steelers. Number 3, Christian Jones with the Black Knights. Number 4, Eric Kendrick with the Giants. Number 5, Demario Davis with the Bengals. League leaders in sacks. Number 1, Garrison Wade with the Bengals. Number 2, Santiago Knight with the Giants. Number 3, Khalil Mack with the St. Louis Rams. Number 4, Malcolm Smith with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 5, Michael Bennett with the Seattle Seahawks. Interceptions, number 1, Harrison Smith with the 49ers. Number 2, Christian Kirksey with the Cleveland Browns. Number 3, Brandon Marshall with the New York Jets. Number 4, Eric Ryan with the 49ers. Number 5, Patrick Peterson with the Portland Lumberjacks. Top rookies in the league. We'll go through those briefly. And actually, I'll just do the top couple. Number 1, Seth Thompson, league leading passer with the LA Dragons. Top rusher in the league, LaMarcus Givens with the Minnesota Vikings. Top young receivers in the league, you got a good group here. Kenbrell Spain with the Panthers. Joey Houston with the Texans, mentioned him earlier. Javonte Mason with the Bengals. Evan Ash, tight end with the Browns. E.J. Dean, speed receiver with the London Bulldogs. Tackles, E.J. Talbot's leading tackle with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Garrison Wade, leading sack leader for the Bengals. And Eric Ryan, the league rookie leader in interceptions. Alright, so let's take a look at some playoff scenarios here. We'll bring up the standings. Alright, AFC. The Lumberjacks have a 4-game lead on the New York Jets. Pretty sure they have at least 1 game in hand with the tiebreaker. So essentially a 4.5 game lead with about 4 or 5 games left to go. So pretty much got that division sewn up. AFC West, like I said, it's a 2-team race between the Raiders and the Chargers. Oakland's 8-3, San Diego's 7-4. They split on the season series. So right now, Oakland's got a 1-game lead on them. AFC North, Cleveland Browns 8-3, Baltimore 7-5, Bengals 6-5. Honestly, think it's a 2-team race between the Browns and the Ravens. Browns right now have a 1.5 game lead on them, depending on what the Browns do this week. AFC South, 2-team race between the Texans and the Jaguars. Texans are 10-1. Jags are 9-2. That's going to be a hell of a race also. Looking at the bye situation, top 2 teams in the conference get byes. Right now, that's the Lumberjacks and the Texans. Jags have an outside shot to make that a 3-team deal for the top 2 spots. I think everyone else is locked into a first-round wild card playoff game. So that's your AFC picture right now. Switch over to the NFC. Like I talked about, NFC East, everyone's still in it. Between the first place Giants and the last place Redskins, there's only a 1.5 game difference. So even though the Redskins have lost 4 in a row, they still have a shot to turn it around. They just gotta get hot. They gotta find some stability at quarterback, I think, is the big thing for them. But right now, like I said, the Huskies won that big game over the Giants. So, tiebreakers coming down. I don't know if they played twice or once. But those two obviously have a shot. Real shot. Cowboys got to play this week. The Cowboys are playing the Redskins. So, hey, if the Redskins lose, I think that knocks them out of the race. So they got to win this week if they still want to stay in it. Cowboys win, will have a three-way tie. Excuse me, a three-way tie for first place within the division. And in this late, that's going to be a hell of a battle. Let's keep losing my page here. Here we go. All right, NFC West. Right now, Rams have a game-and-a-half lead over the 49ers. The Rams are 10-2. 49ers are 8-3. Niners have got to play their game this week. They are playing the... What are they playing? Oh, the Saints. That's going to be a good game, 49ers and Saints. And the 49ers have a game lead over the Arizona Cardinals. But the Cardinals did beat the 49ers head-to-head. Don't know if they play again yet or not. But that's going to be a good race also. If the Niners lose, though, to the Saints, I like the Rams' chances of winning the division then. So that's going to be a big game for the 49ers, whether they're going to be in wild card contention or they're going to be in contention for the division coming out the stretch. NFC North is locked up. The Vikings have it. They got a 5-game lead over the Packers. Not really worried about that one. NFC South, Panthers have a 3-game lead over the Saints, roughly a 4-game lead with the tiebreaker. Huge game for the Saints here. If they have any division hopes, they got to win. But for the wild card, let's look at the wild card situation here, because NFC East, don't think the wild card's going to happen there. Whoever wins that division will be in. Everyone else, I don't think it's...
Keeping PCs longer than 3 years dramatically increases support costs and security exposure. So I called our trusted partners at Dell. Dell helped us make a confident choice. They offer the world's most secure commercial PCs with Intel Core vPro processors that come with built-in Dell data protection solutions for comprehensive encryption, advanced authentication, and leading-edge malware prevention that protects even against zero-day attacks. Our business has been transformed from sluggish to sleek, and we're looking forward to a bright future with technology that grows with us.
NFC West, NFC South. 2 divisions, 2 wildcard spots, along with the division winner. You know, I said the Bucks have an outside shot, and they got to run the table because they're 2 games behind the Saints, and the Saints are in a tie with the Cardinals for the last wildcard spot right now. When it comes down to ties among divisions, if there's no head-to-head matchup, which those 2 will not play head-to-head, because the South is playing the West based on scheduling. They're only playing 1 game against the West this year, and we know the Saints are playing the 49ers for their, interdivisional game. So there's no head-to-head between the Cardinals and the Saints. So you go to conference record. The Saints have done well in the conference. They're 7-2 in the conference. The Cardinals are 6-2 in the conference. So the Cardinals need to get another conference win to win, or at least be even in that tiebreaker with the Saints. So this Saints-49ers game is huge in a lot of ways. Because when you look at the wild card breakdowns, if the Saints beat the 49ers and the Cardinals win their game this week, you have a 3-way tie for 2 wildcard spots in the NFC. coming down to the last 3 games. So this wild card race in the NFC is really going to be between those 3 teams, unless the Bucks, get hot and run the table or win 5 out of 6 or whatever it's got to be to get in it. But that's going to be really, really interesting. And when we get to the playoffs, it's going to be some really, really good matchups there. When you look at buys, I think you got 3 teams vying for the buys, and the Panthers, the Rams, and the Vikings. Right now, the Panthers and the Rams have the lead in that. But you got to figure, if one of those teams slip up down the stretch, the Vikings are going to have an easier schedule. Look at their division. I mean, there are other teams that they would be playing down the stretch most likely are not that good. So, hey, the heat is still on there for the wild card in the NFC. I mean, not the wild card, the bye situation in the NFC. So, there you have it. Power rankings and playoff race analysis. We're at 32 minutes. Nothing really left to address other than the new guys that come in. I'll talk to you about Madden 17 probably in the off season. What we're going to do is those guys that left, teams were already assigned to them or they were chosen. For anyone else that comes in after our selection process, we will open it up through the reverse waiver process mentioned on the Madden 17 post to guys that were in the league already, and they will be able to switch teams if they want based on that reverse waiver process, which means we'll start at the bottom of the list, and if that guy wants to switch, which they probably will, as I know Black Knights will switch because he didn't want the 49ers. That was his only choice. So if you guys want to switch, those 4 teams that these people chose will be available. Alright? And then after we get that process done, anyone else that has joined the league after we drafted teams will be placed into a lottery. And we will pull numbers like we did with PEL if you guys were around back then. We'll pull numbers in a live draft. Everyone has to be assigned a number. And based on that, you'll get to choose your team. So it's kind of like an expansion draft, essentially. Alright? So that's how that'll work. That'll be done later on, more closer to Madden 17. And we'll talk about that process later on. And I'll speak to you individually about it. But just to give you an idea of how that's going to go down, that's what we're going to do. Other than that, I don't think there's been anything really pressing besides conceding. Conceding, you gotta understand something, guys. Number 1, you need to let your person or your opponent know you're gonna concede. Number 2, you can't concede unless it's under mercy rule conditions. Mercy rule is under rules 35 points or more, second half. Alright? Unless you have a real emergency, alright? And then you need to let one of the commissioners know what's going on also. We've had a couple concedes here that shouldn't have happened, and one of those guys actually left the league. Thank goodness. But, we can't do that, man. Now, concede is different than a quit. Concede, the game ends right there, as long as it's in the second half, and you get all your stats and everything that happened, alright? So, don't go crazy if somebody concedes on you, but they need to let you know it's going to happen. And if it happens, you just need to let me or one of the commissioners know what's going on, and then we can get the details and everything. Alright. Other than that, I can't think of any issues that have been going on. I think that's it, man. I think that's it. I appreciate it. This will be on podcast, like I said. If you missed it, I'll try to do the video, but Ustream is funny about their process. I don't know. The next video, it will be the detailed team breakdown. I hadn't forgot about it. I've just been really short on time lately. I need about an hour to do it, and I'm always doing something while I'm doing something else. So, if I have time this week, I'll get it done. That's when I go in, I look at every team and break down their whole roster. And in this case, since it's so late in the season, we'll talk about what they're going to need in the off season, most likely, where they need upgrades and things like that. So that video is coming. Maybe Tuesday, maybe Thursday. I don't know. Maybe today if I feel like it, but I've been on a Breaking Bad binge, so I'm trying to get through it. I'm on the last season now. I'm late. I'm late as hell. But anyways, appreciate you guys watching. You missed it, it'll be on the podcast. As soon as I can get it up, I gotta go through and process it or anything. But thanks, guys. Good luck this week if you haven't played. Appreciate it.